published today, you know, actually say if we'd taken actions differently of any of the agencies, that the outcome would have changed.
Okay. In the IPCC report, it says that an officer and a sergeant have a case to answer for over the allegations of misconduct. Has there been a hearing, and if so, what's happened with that?
Yes, I mean, we didn't wait for the publication of the report. We've already had our misconduct meeting for both of those officers, and the initial officer that took the details went to a misconduct meeting, and they got written advice, and that goes on to their personal record for 18 months, and that's a very serious outcome from a police officer. And then the sergeant was given management advice and development, and that stays on their record as well.
The recommendations were served over a year ago. What have you done in that time? What recommendations have you put in place?
I suppose looking at some of the main recommendations, part of it was around training for frontline officers, and we've been doing that actually for the last 18 months. And that's looking at, as people are aware with domestic abuse, quite often victims aren't aware that they're victims of domestic abuse. And some of the ones who are aware don't necessarily want to report it. So we've given quite intensive training to our officers around what we call the national decision-making model. And that gives officers the skills and facilities to ask those probing questions. So like when the first criminal offence was reported to us in August around criminal damage, officers now have that training to probe and ask more questions around the criminal damage. So we've looked at that and we've put that in across the force. We've also looked at how we work with other agencies and how we exchange information. We have the Police National Database in position now across the whole of the UK, and we've worked closely with all our partners around how we let them know that we've used that computer system. So we've looked at that areas.
Right, you had multiple reports from both Kim and Kaylee's friend making allegations on Kaylee's behalf. But when questioned, Kaylee obviously refused to cooperate with police. Do you think that the police should have acted on her behalf despite her refusal?
I think that goes back to the point I was saying, that we've given that intensive training to officers now, not just to take that first comment from someone of, you know, I don't want to make a complaint or this hasn't happened, that they actually ask those probing questions. What we did do with all the reporting to us that was not criminally based is that we referred all of that to social services, and I am aware that social services did pick that up and were working with the family, and that was around trying to explain to Chelsea and Sharon in relation to healthy relationships and support the family through that.
Social services treated Kaylee as a young adult making bad choices. What was she in the eyes of Gwent Police?
At the time, nationally, we were working on a definition of domestic abuse, which was anyone over the age of 18. It has been changed nationally, and now it's anyone 16 and above. So now we would most definitely look at what happened there in relation to domestic abuse. And it is around looking at people's vulnerability, and I think we shouldn't be drawn into age, and it should be around the vulnerability of the individual.
Sort of final question. The IPCC say that this case mirrored other failings in relation to domestic abuse, and this case was nearly a whole year earlier than the murder of Caroline Parry. Had nothing been learnt in that time?
Yeah, we have had previous reviews. Each of them have highlighted slightly different issues, and when we get any review and any recommendations, we act on those straight away. And what we have done in this specific case is we didn't wait for the reports to be published. When we've looked at any areas that we thought we should develop and work on, we've actioned that straight away.